think it goes without saying that the hardest part of your health and fitness journey is literally just getting started, getting the ball rolling so that you get that momentum to keep showing up. And if I'm being honest, I failed a few times before I really hit my stride and was able to integrate consistently training into my lifestyle. And what finally worked for me was chasing what was naturally the most interesting to me. And for me, that was seeing somebody do the planche. I was just scrolling around on social media. I think it was on Instagram. I saw somebody do a planche and I immediately thought, that looks really badass. I want to learn how to do that. And it didn't come easily. I had to train for a few years to finally get there, but training calisthenics worked. Having that ambitious goal and looking up what I needed to do to get there allowed me to stay consistent, achieve that goal, and have consistent training become a part of my lifestyle. But the interesting thing is, every time I told people I started hitting the gym, whether it was coworkers or friends or just anyone in my life, they would all be like, wait, hold on, you're not benching? Like, you don't do barbell squats? You don't lift with barbells at all? Like, I don't think you're doing this right. And I'd be lying if I said their words didn't get to me a little bit, because there's always a bit of doubt. Like, am I on the right path? Am I doing what I need to do to get to where I'm trying to go? But regardless of whether or not that was the right path to get me to my goal, I think there's a bigger point here, and it is to find what appeals to you. This could literally be anything that's exercise related. Yoga, powerlifting, Olympic lifting, pickleball, tennis, skateboarding. Anything that involves you moving your body, to me, is a step in the right direction. And that step in the right direction is you becoming more active consistently if you aren't today. Now, once you find that thing, whatever that interesting thing is to you, my advice would be to immediately ignore what everybody else around you is trying to say about the best way to get started. I mean, if I could go back in time with a time machine and give a kid version of me one piece of advice, this would be it. Pursue what's interesting to you and ignore what everybody else has to say. When I was growing up, I used to love art. I loved drawing. It was just something that naturally appealed to me, and I would do it in my free time. But the second I walked into art class and I had to do it in school, I immediately lost almost all interest in it, because I went from drawing the video game characters that I would draw at home to drawing a sphere or an apple or just something that wasn't visually interesting at all. And once I got a little older, I couldn't help but wonder, like, why couldn't I just continue drawing the video game characters I like drawing at home in school? Why couldn't I just draw that and practice getting better at that? So what should have been a catalyst for a natural interest of mine ended up being the very thing that killed it. I stopped drawing unless I was forced to do it in an art class, and I didn't pick it up until later in life. And when I did pick it up, there was a part of me that was like, why did I ever stop doing this? Like, I enjoyed doing this. I enjoyed getting better at it. I felt so accomplished whenever I finished a piece. Why is this something that left my life? And it was entirely due to our education system forcing me to learn a skill and to do a certain thing their way. Who knows where I could have been if I could have just taken what I was doing and been supported in doing that thing. So to tie this back to fitness, earlier on when I tried to go to the gym, I would always do certain things because I thought that was the best thing to do. I would use certain machines or lift a certain way because that's what everybody else was doing, and that's just the way I thought things were done. But it wasn't until later in life when I discovered that planche that I found a new way of doing things. I found a new way of training with a skill that I didn't even know existed that I thought looked really cool. And even though it was tons of hard work, that end goal, that thing that looked really badass to me, was enough for me to push through the grind and all the self-doubt and all the criticism to eventually achieve that goal. So if you're at all like me, you maybe see something on social media that looks cool to you, or you don't even have something that ambitious and you're like, I just want to move better, look better, and feel better. I have no aspirations of being a competitive powerlifter or a competitive bodybuilder. And guess what? If that's you, you don't need an Olympic level training plan to get there. You just need to find something that's naturally interesting to you, something that gets you excited about moving, something that gets you excited about training. So the next time you're on social media and you find something fitness related that makes you go, oh, that looks cool, or oh, I'd like to try that, give that thing a shot. It took me from zero to hero. It took me from somebody who struggled to stay consistent in the gym to somebody who now does it as a career. Pursuing that natural interest changed my life forever, and it could do the same for you too.